Hello, my peeps. This Algebra Nation video will cover workbook page 8 times 5, problem number 2, part A and part B.
0.253y plus 0.857y minus 0.2 equals 0.001. Alright, round to the nearest thousandth. We'll worry about that rounding once we get to an answer. For now, let's just worry about solving for y. We want to get y by itself. So let's start by rewriting this problem. I'm just going to go to the bottom of the page and rewrite it because I'm going to write big and I don't have enough room right here. So a was 0.253y plus 0.857y. Don't make fun of me because I crossed my sevens. I know it's kind of weird, but it's what I do. 0.857y minus 0.200 equals 0.001. Okay, what am I trying to do here? I want to get y by itself. So the first thing I do, I don't see any parentheses, so there's no need to distribute anything, right? There's no parentheses to get rid of. So my next step is to combine like terms. Well, on my left side of the equation, I see two different terms that have a y in it. That means that I can combine these. Well, this 0.253y is positive, right? If it was negative, it would have a negative sign. So this is positive. And I have a plus a 0.857y. So I'm just going to add these two together. I'm going to do 0.253y plus 0.857. So 0.253 plus 0.857 gives me 1.11y. 1.11y. All right, now what do I have? This negative 0.200. That can't be combined with anything on the left side. There's no other numbers here. And I have equal to, and I only have one term on my right, so there's nothing to combine it with. So I get 0.001. Well, now what do I want to do? Letters on one side, numbers on the other, right? I want to get my variable on one side of the equation and my numbers on the other. So what's keeping y from being by itself? Well, it's being multiplied by 1.11, and 0.200 is being subtracted from it. Before I can worry about this 1.11, I need to get this term by itself. How do I get this term by itself? You got to get rid of this negative 0.2. Well, what's the opposite of subtracting 0.200? Adding 0.200. The inverse of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 0.200 to both sides of the equation because whatever I do to one side, you got to do on the other. All right, let's see what this gives us. Well, this negative 0.20 and positive 0.20 cancel out. No term for me to combine this with on the left, so I get 1.11y equals, can I add these two together? Are they like terms? Yeah, I'm going to add. I'm going to do 0.001 plus 0.2. What does that give me? 0.201. Am I done with this question? No, y is still not by itself. I need to get y by itself. What's keeping y from being by itself? It's being multiplied by 1.11. Well, what's the inverse of multiplication? Division. I need to divide. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to divide each side by 1.11. Let's see what that gives me. Well, anything divided by itself is equal to 1, right? 5 over 5 is equal to 1. X over x is equal to 1. An apple over an apple is equal to 1. Anything over itself is 1. So this crosses out with each other. And all we're left with is y, our variable. What about over here? Well, let's just divide the numbers. Get in our calculator, 0.201 divided by 1.11. Let's see what that gives us. It gives us 0.181081. Are we done? Nah, kind of. But remember, part of our direction says round to the nearest thousandth. So you want to make sure that you know your places here, your decimal places. Well, the first digit after your decimal place is your tenths. The second is your hundredths. The third is your thousandth. So we only want to have 3 digits after our decimal place. So if we only want 3 digits after our decimal place, what do we get? We get 0.181, right? Because 0 doesn't make this go up. So we just end up with our answer of y equals 0.181. And that's it. That's our answer. Remember, you can always check your work by...
I think it's time for a brain break. Here's your brain break. Don't let this happen to you on the EOC. This will be problem number 2, part B.
Plus 0.08 times y minus 10 is equal to 4.60. 4.60. Now you might be wondering why there's a 0.06 up here and I only wrote 0.06 down here. Well, it actually means the same thing. 0.06 is the same thing as 0.06. So I didn't write it, but you can. It's not going to change anything with your math. All right, so what do we see here that pops out? Parentheses. I've got 2 places where I have parentheses. What do I do to get rid of parentheses? I distribute, right? I'm going to distribute whatever's on the outside of the parentheses to every term on the inside. And distributing means that I am multiplying. I'm going to multiply that outside term by each term on the inside. So I need to do that for this 0.06 times y plus 20 and this 0.08 times y minus 10. Let's see what I get. Well, 0.06 times y is just 0.06y. What do I get here? 0.06 times 20. Well, they're both positive, so that's nice. I'm going to end up with a positive value. What's 0.06 times 20? You could think about that as what's 6% of 20, right? 0.06 is the same thing as saying 6%. Well, 0.06 times 20 is equal to 1.2. All right, now let's see what I've got. Well, this is a positive 8, right? We have a positive 8 here. Well, that's good to know. We have a y right here. What is positive 0.08 times y? Well, that just gives us a plus 0.08y. Now let's see what we get. We get 0.08, this is a positive 0.08, because remember, whatever's on the outside, but it includes the sign, so we know we have a positive here. Positive 0.08 times negative 10. Well, a positive times a negative is what? A negative, so we know we're going to end up with a negative. What's 0.08 times 10? What's 8% of 10? 0.08 times 10, we get 0.8. All right, are we done? Well, we're done with that distributing. So let's set all of that equal to our right side of the equation, which is 4.6. Now what do? We've got to combine like terms. So let's look at this left side of our equation and see what terms we can combine. My first one is 0.06y. I want to combine that with anything that has a y. Well, this 0.08y can be combined. They're like terms. So 0.06y plus 0.08y. How do we combine those together? We're just going to add them together. 0.06 plus 0.08 gives me 0.14y. See? 0.06 plus 0.08 gives me 0.14y. Okay, let's look at our next part. We have a 1.2 and a negative 0.8. 1.2 minus 0.8. We're taking that 1.2 and we're subtracting 0.8 from it. So 1.2 minus 0.8, we get 0.4. And it's a positive, but 1.2 is bigger than 0.8, so we're going to end up with a positive. We get 0.4. Nothing left on the side of the equation, so let's set it equal to 4.6. Now, are we done? No. We want to get the term with y by itself. So let's get rid of this number. How do you get rid of a plus 0.4? We're adding 0.4 to this term. How do you get rid of it? Well, the inverse of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 0.4. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So this 0.4 minus 0.4 are left. They disappear, right? 0.4 minus 0.4 is equal to 0. That's gone. We're left with 0.14y on the left side of the equation. What do we get over here? We only have numbers, so we're going to do 4.6 minus 0.4. Can those be combined? Yeah. 4.6 minus 0.4 gives us 4.2. Now what do we do? Are we done? Oh, we've got to get y by itself. Y is being multiplied by 0.14. So what's the inverse of multiplication? What's the opposite? Division. We are going to divide both sides by 0.14. Let's see what happens. Well, the 0.14 and the 0.14 cancel out, so what are we left with on the left? We're just left with y. And what do we get over here? What is 4.2 divided by 0.14? Well, let's plug it into our calculator and see what we get. Clear out what I've got, and I do 4.2 divided by 0.14. I end up with 30. Y is equal to 30. Remember, you can check your work by starting with our original equation, plugging in that value of y, make sure that what's on the left of your equal sign equals what's on the right, and you know that you've solved for the right value. If you guys have any questions on these, make sure you post on the wall. The key to solving